Homeless man spent his last $8 to help a Hell's Angel. Next day, 300 bikers showed up at his door. The rain fell in icy sheets that night, turning the city streets into shimmering rivers of neon and shadow. Under a flickering street lamp near the edge of downtown, Thomas sat huddled in a tattered coat, his breath visible in the cold air. He hadn't eaten in 2 days. His cardboard shelter offered little protection from the storm, but it was all he had. At 54, life had worn him thin. Divorced, unemployed, and estranged from his daughter after years of struggling with addiction. He'd been clean for 9 months, but the world hadn't caught up to his redemption yet. Just after midnight, a motorcycle rumbled to a stop nearby. The rider was massive, a bearded man in a black leather vest emblazoned with a winged skull, silver rings glinting on thick fingers. A Hell's Angel. Thomas instinctively shrank back, expecting threats or indifference. But instead, the biker leaned against a lamppost, shoulders slumped, eyes red-rimmed and exhausted. "Hey, you got any money?" the biker asked, voice rough but not unkind. "My boy's sick. Fever. Doctor said he needs milk. Real milk, not that powdered stuff. I'm out of cash. Just got stranded after my ride broke down." Thomas hesitated. In his pocket, 1 crumpled $5 bill and 3 singles, his last $8. It was supposed to buy him a warm meal and maybe a spot in a shelter tomorrow. But something in the man's voice, the raw worry of a father, cut through Thomas like a blade. Without a word, Thomas reached into his coat and pressed the bills into the biker's hand. "Take it," he said quietly. "Your boy needs it more than I do." The biker stared at the money, then at Thomas, really looked at him, saw the hollow cheeks, the cracked boots, the eyes that held both pain and quiet dignity. "Why?" the biker asked, voice cracking. Thomas offered a faint smile. "'Cause everyone deserves a chance to be somebody's hero." The biker nodded slowly, eyes glistening. "Thank you, brother." He revved his bike and disappeared into the rain. Thomas curled back into his makeshift bed, stomach growling, but heart lighter than it had been in years. The next morning, sunlight broke through the clouds as if the sky itself wanted to witness what came next. Thomas was startled awake by the deep, thunderous roar of engines, dozens of them, then hundreds. He sat up, blinking in disbelief. Lined up along the street, stretching as far as he could see, were motorcycles, black leather, gleaming chrome, and men and women with fierce eyes and hearts wide open. At the front stood the biker from the night before, now flanked by dozens of his brothers and sisters from the Hell's Angels. But they weren't there for trouble. They were there for him. "Get up, Thomas. Your life starts today." What followed was nothing short of a miracle. The bikers had spent the night mobilizing. They'd contacted shelters, rehab networks, and local business owners. One owned a small auto shop and offered Thomas a job starting that day. Another had an empty apartment above his bar, rent-free for 6 months. A woman stepped forward with a duffel bag filled with warm clothes, toiletries, and a new pair of boots. But the most emotional moment came when the biker handed Thomas an envelope. Inside was a one-way bus ticket and a printed photo. "Your daughter," the biker said. "We found her. She's been looking for you. She never stopped." Thomas broke down, great heaving sobs of relief, grief, and hope. For the first time in years, he felt seen, valued, worthy. Weeks later, Thomas stood outside the auto shop, clean-shaven, wearing a clean uniform, hands no longer trembling. He'd reconnected with his daughter. They'd cried, laughed, and started healing the wounds of the past. And every Sunday, without fail, a group of bikers would swing by, not to check on him, but to share coffee, stories, and brotherhood. That $8 hadn't just bought milk for a sick child. It had bought Thomas a second chance, a family, a future. This story isn't just about luck. It's about the radical power of selfless kindness, even when you have nothing left to give. It's proof that goodness echoes, that one act of love offered in the darkest hour can summon an army of light. because kindness never goes unnoticed. Sometimes it just needs a little time to roar back like thunder. If this story moved you, please like, comment, and share. Let's flood the world with reminders that compassion still changes lives. Tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? And if you've ever been on the receiving end of unexpected kindness or been someone's unexpected hero, we'd love to hear your story. Subscribe to ACA Story Tales for more real-feel cinematic tales of humanity, redemption, and second chances. Because sometimes the most ordinary people create the most extraordinary miracles. Good still exists, and it starts with you.